Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick and today guys we're jumping back down into the world of Luna Classic to see what's been going on with the price action, what we'd expect to happen next and all that good stuff. As I get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, you know what to do. Hit that like button. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. Stay up to date with all the live streams and videos that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Now if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, the link is in the description below, along with all the other various different links and things that we have to offer here at Cheeky Crypto. Well worth checking them all out if they are of interest to you. Okay, let's kind of get right on into it, right? Let's keep this nice and brief, give everyone an update on what is going on with the price action, what we'd expect to happen next and all that wonderful stuff. Here we have Luna Classic paired up with BUSD on the 1 hour chart. Binance is the data source. Now, following on from where we were yesterday, we were talking about this move to the downside, right? We have this kind of marked out with our little yellow box down here, coming in at 0.000202 on the lower side of the spectrum, and on the slightly higher side it's 0.00022378. So we know that we've got this kind of area just down here scoped out as a potential low point for a bigger reversal to the upside. Now we've seen a little bit of volatility within this little area here, so what we're going to do is we're going to expand this up and walk you through what is going on within this little section. Okay, so we can see that we had moved this move up here and it doesn't actually pierce this high point up here on the B wave. Okay, so that's going to be in the first important tell right there. Okay, but this does actually tell us that we're going to come down again, and we can kind of see that within this structure here, but we haven't got a good clear directional price target just yet. Okay, but what we are going to do is we're going to take this measurement just here and we're going to refine our slightly macro views. Okay, so we're just going to lift up our lower higher end spectrum. Okay, so as we kind of have this area between 2.20202 down here through to this high point of 22378, what we're going to do is we're going to lift up this area just to match up with this new potential low point here. Okay, so we're just going to lift this up just a fraction. It's going to expand our spectrum of where we're going to go to the downside, but let me just adjust this. We're going to get this onto here, so it's 23394. Okay, and the reason for this adjustment I'm going to walk you through in a second. Okay, I'm just going to expand that up. So we now have this slightly broader range. So anywhere in this low range here seems to be a good point for reversal. Okay, we can come down to this lower range, but we cannot and should hopefully avoid coming down to this 1.618. Okay, so it's lower than the 20202. Now hitting this one down here at 19859, this is going to be a trigger for something much deeper. We're going to have a deeper correction. But for now, we're not there. So we're going to keep an eye on that. We've got macro corrections, okay, these C wave lows coming in at this low point, and potentially, if we're lucky, on this higher range here at 23394. Okay, this is an important one. So what we're going to do is going to draw out what that looks like. So we can see here that we have the sub-wave counting. Let me just bring this back up just a fraction so we can see, right? So from our higher end up here, we have A, B, and C. Okay, inside that little C wave there, we have the A, B, C, okay, and inside this C wave, you bet it, we've got ourselves another A, B, potential C, okay, so we start to layer this on. And of course, with minimum expectations already been met at the macro, so we don't have to come down lower. It's no guarantee that we do. All the minimum expectations, with the exception of this 23394, have already been met, okay, we can see that here. Now, the biggest one that we want to be aware of is going to be this. If I grab this and pull this over to here, you can see that when we just put that back, when we come down to this lower range, we could potentially hit this 1.618 target here. That would basically mean that this is not not an A, B, C, but instead 1, 2, 3. Then we look for 4, then we come down for 5. So we have the bounce, then we drop down further, okay, under that kind of premise. So I think that's something that we're probably not going to be able to avoid, but we should keep a close eye on it. But for now, we can see pretty clearly we have some interesting kind of levels that we're going to be thinking about for Luna Classic, at least here on our hourly chart. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what would create invalidations, right? What would prevent us from moving down into these lower ranges? Well, straight off the bat, the first thing that we need to acknowledge is this dashed line just here. Okay, 31352. This area just here basically is going to mark us with an interesting corrective structure. Okay, I won't want to call it invalidation as such, but it is going to be high probability that we are not coming down lower if we go higher than this. Doesn't prevent it. A B wave can come up here, for example, then a C wave can come down here, and it could be an expanding flat. But again, you know, there's different things that we'd be looking out for under those structures as well. So we'll be keeping a close eye on it. Okay, so that's always one thing there. So we're going to be looking out for 31352. Okay, 31352. 352. That's at higher end there. If we go higher, that's going to be a good sign. Doesn't necessarily mean that we can't come down here, but it's a good sign that it's working in the right direction. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now coming down to or equal to this area down here of 24050. So this dash line just over here, this one would actually represent the minimum value of what we'd expect for this C wave. Okay, that's the minimum expectation for the current structure as it sits. Okay, so come down here, that would be under that kind of structure that I drew up. Okay, so we've got that. So we know that these kind of key levels for Lunar Classic. Now, as I bring our stochastic RSI up here on the hourly chart, what can we see? Well, we can see that we're coming down. We're not oversold yet, so we can still come down a fraction further. You can take a look and you can see, okay, we're in a very similar position as we were previously when we were up in this area. Let me just go ahead and draw that on. So when we were about here, you can kind of see that we'll move down a little bit lower within this range, and we got into the oversold area on the stochastic. So where we are right now, we can come down a little bit lower, and maybe, you know, we do hit that 24050 double bottom kind of scenario, then up we can go, right? So keep a close eye on those. Now the 4-hourly chart tells us that we do have to come down quite a bit. Okay, this is a corrective structure that is indicating this low range that we've got mapped out. That doesn't change, and we are in the overbought area looking for this correction. I think that this correction with these kind of 4 different C wave, sub wave counting going on into this low range is the most probable scenario coming down into here. Okay, now in doing so, we can then see that the 8 hour is ready for a pump upwards, the daily is ready for a pump upwards, and the weekly doesn't exist. So really all we need to do is correct down our 4-hourly and our hourly charts, and we're kind of ready to go. So looking at this, it looks like we're getting into a really good spot here for Lunar Classic, a little bit more to the downside, and then we can start to talk about, you know, 3-wave structural moves upwards or 5-wave structural moves upwards. And for the most part, this looks like we are just in some kind of corrective state, but we are keeping a very close eye on this area of 23238, as that would actually trigger us to trend on down. 1, 2, 3, some kind of bounce, some kind of 4 and 5th wave like so, right? And then of course 5th waves don't ever appear on their own, so we'd be a little bit cautious about that. But for the most part, this is what we're looking for. We're looking for this kind of small move to the downside and then a bit of a move to the upside. So keeping a close eye on Lunar Classic. I know it's close to many people's hearts right now, so hopefully this will be helpful and informative. If it has, hit the like button. I do appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all the live streams and videos that we do here at Cheeky Crypto, guys. Until the next one, have a fantastic day.